Hello and welcome. I am Exit Light and this is my channel. Before we get started, if you would please give this video a thumbs up. You can wait till the end. Just please give it a thumbs up. If you are not subscribed, like 80+% of you are not, please do so. It helps my channel. And if you leave comments, that helps my channel as well. I'm going to be leaving the link to my new jewelry store. And please go take a peek around there. All right, let's go. How well do you know your mailman? Do you ever see your mail person? You just come home and the mail's there? Or do you occasionally see them and give them a friendly wave or a nod? Some people tip their mailman at Christmas. Some people will bake fudge or candy or cookies for their mailman at Christmas. It's a special treat. Then there are people who invite their mailman in on a cold day, give him a hot cup of coffee, just for a couple minutes, just to get him out of the cold. Do you know what your mailman knows about you? Your mailman knows when you get your Social Security check. Your mailman knows if you're going on vacation because you've stopped having the mail delivered for a certain period of time. Your mailman knows who your doctor, your dentist, your psychiatrist, all of those people are because he brings you the bills. Your mailman knows when your Grandma Jenny has passed away because you no longer get birthday cards in the mail from her and Christmas cards. Your mailman knows if somebody you know has had a baby because you sent out a card and the envelope has a baby on it and congratulations. Your mailman knows your bank. He knows who your car loan is from. He knows who your mortgage is from. And he knows your dog's name because the vet will send a reminder for a checkup in the dog's name. Your mailman knows when it's time for you to see the dentist because you'll get a card telling you it's time to come in for a cleaning. Your mailman knows the names for your family and your friends and anyone who sends mail to you. He knows more about you than your coworkers know. He might know more about you than your family knows. Maybe you get a delivery in a brown box. Doesn't say anything on the outside, but he knows what the return address means. Your mailman knows if you're late on your bills and what bills those are. Your mailman knows you. Jennifer Stacy was the kind of person who knows her mailman. She set her clock at the same time every day. She would make herself lunch. She'd make an extra sandwich for William. That was her mailman. And in the warm months, she'd go outside and greet him, and they'd stand at her mailbox and talk for a few minutes while she looked through her mail casually. He already knew what was there. And he'd talk about his family, and she'd talk about hers, and he'd ask about his kids. He'd ask about her dog, Julie. During the colder months, she'd still make him lunch, but she'd have him come in real fast. She'd have a hot cup of coffee waiting for him. She'd tell him to just shake it off for a while. Just warm up real quick. There were a few people on his route that did this, and he really genuinely appreciated it. He took off his gloves and he wrapped his fingers around the hot mug and he breathed in the steam. And he'd stand in the doorway, or sometimes she'd have him sit on her couch. He knew where her kitchen was. He could see her dining room. He assumed down the hallway was one or two bedrooms, bathroom. He liked how she decorated. He delivered some of those pieces. It was nice to see how she put them to good use. And then he'd be off on his way again. This was a daily occurrence, except for Sundays. On August 2nd, 2002, Jennifer was going on vacation, a girls' trip. Some of the girls from her office, some high school friends, some college friends, a whole bunch of them. They'd been planning for it for a year. She'd been getting pamphlets in the mail and looking through the beaches and the hotels and just dreaming about being on a tropical island with no cares in the world. She started talking to the mailman, William, about this in January, and she told him how excited she was. As the closer they got, she spoke to him about boarding her dog and where she was going to board him, although William already knew he'd got a welcome to the pet hotel card that he'd delivered. He knew the hotel she was staying in. He knew what beaches she was going to. He knew what activities they planned on doing. And Jennifer went on this vacation, and William continued his job as a mailman. 2 blocks down was Samantha Jones, and she too knew her mailman. And she was sad that day. She'd gone out to meet him and leaned against the mailbox. She had a tissue in her hand, and she told him that her dog had died. And she wept. She'd had him for 13 years. He felt like family. His name was Travis. And he comforted her. And then he went about his day. On the night of August 9th, William drove up in his own personal vehicle. He parked about 2 blocks away from Jennifer's house. He looked around to make sure there was no one looking, no one peeking out of their window. He got out of his car and he gently pushed the door to make as little noise as possible. He walked 2 blocks to Jennifer's house. He knew where she put her key. It was under a pot of flowers by the front door. He took the key and he let himself into her house. He couldn't turn the light on. He knew that she'd told her neighbors that she was leaving and when she would be back. If they thought she was home early, they might come and check. Or if they thought someone was in the house and she wasn't home, they might come and check. He walked around the dimly lit home. She had left a couple of lights on, ones that are supposed to act as a defense. See, Someone's home right now. Leave the lights on. And he walked into her kitchen, and he opened her cupboards. He opened her refrigerator, closed it. He sat at her dining room table. He imagined himself being invited to a family dinner. She often had her siblings over, and they'd play game nights. He imagined being invited to one of those. He walked down the hall, and he was right. On the right side was a bathroom, and as you moved down the hall, there were photos on the wall, and he stopped to squint his eyes, to look at them. She looked very much like the woman in one of those photos. He assumed it was her mother. Her siblings, her father, her friends, even some baby photos. And at the end of the hall, on the right-hand side was one bedroom. On the left-hand side was another bedroom. That bedroom was an ensuite. He walked in, and he sat on her bed, and then he laid back on her bed. He just took in the silence. He walked in to her bathroom. He opened her medicine chest. He knew her prescriptions. They were delivered. He looked at her shower, took out a bottle, and breathed it in. That's what her hair smelled like. She always smelled so good. He pictured her lying in her bathtub. And then he went to the guest bedroom. He laid down on the bed, and he nodded off for a couple of hours. He knew Jennifer's flight was coming in at 5:30 in the morning. He knew that she was going to pick up her dog in the kennel. And he figured that she'd be home somewhere around 7 a.m. It was a Sunday. No one expected him at work. No one knew anything. He was a perfect employee. He never called in sick. All of his neighborhoods loved him. They would call in even and say how much they appreciated him going the extra mile. Sometimes he would bring flowers if he knew that someone had passed away, or he'd bring a card, deliver it to him. He was friendly. He wasn't particularly good looking, but he wasn't ugly. He considered himself average. Dirty blonde hair, contacts, blue eyes. Everybody said that he had beautiful eyes. Not a sharp jawline, but not too rounded. Had loose curls. He was 32 years old. He wouldn't say that he was fit per se, but he did jog a few nights a week when he got off work, when he felt like it. He wasn't married. In fact, it had been some time since he'd even gone on a date. He was awkward. People would tell him that he was awkward, as though that would somehow help him snap out of it. Once he went on a date with a woman, and in the middle of dinner, she excused herself to go to the restroom, and a few minutes later, he looked up and he saw her outside of the restroom, walking to the door. She walked out of the restaurant and she waved down a taxi. So he didn't consider himself a manly man. He considered himself a lonely man. His mother and father were still alive. He had a sister, Becky. But his job is really what kept him company. He enjoyed knowing about people's lives and knowing that they didn't know how much he knew. It felt somehow powerful. Somehow, those people that saw him delivering their mail and would barely glance in his direction, would barely take the time out of their day to even look at him. Most didn't even make eye contact. Some would mutter something. Good afternoon, good morning. Made him feel powerful over those people who treated him like he wasn't there. At 7:15 in the morning, Jennifer came home with her dog. Julie was happy to be home. She was running around the place. You could hear Jennifer putting her luggage down, sat on the couch. She let out a sigh. Girl, I need a vacation from my vacation, she said to the dog, who jumped on her lap. William knew because he heard Jennifer laughing and the dog was kissing her face. William liked Jennifer. She was kind to him. But in the way that other people made him feel small, she sometimes made him feel small too. She was courteous. She did go out of her way to make him lunch or coffee. She did send him home every Christmas with cookies and candy. But at the same time, when he would talk to her and she would flip through her mail, he felt as though he was being dismissed. Uh-huh. Oh, really? Oh. Oh, well, that's nice. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Those were the responses. So he also hated her. Her perfect house, her perfect dog, her perfect family, her siblings coming over for game night, dinner with her parents. Julie did this and Julie did that, and the next day William was back at work. He had a box sitting on the seat next to him, and inside the box was a blanket, a squeaky toy. There was a little poodle with a bow on her head, a pink collar, and her toenails painted pink, sitting in the basket, very calm, It's okay, girl. You're gonna be fine. You're gonna be fine. It's an adventure. It's an adventure. And the dog looked at him with fear and questioning in her eyes. She was shaking a little, and that's when William pulled up and he got out of his truck. He picked the dog up out of the box, straightened the bow on her hair. Before he could get around the truck, Samantha was standing out by her mailbox. She was kind. She had kind eyes, and she listened more than she spoke. William told her many things about his life and confided in his loneliness. She would buy him cards just randomly and give them to him and say, I just want you to know someone's thinking about you. Samantha saw the dog. Oh my gosh. Who is this? Who's this girl? Who is this girl? Are you a good girl? Who is this? And William said, she's for you. And Samantha caught her breath and asked, what do you mean? And William said, I got her for you. And as he was passing her over to Samantha, he noticed on her hind leg that there was a drop of blood. He took out a handkerchief. He said, oh, sorry. She must have been scared. He wiped her leg off. Samantha didn't think twice about it. Said, does she have a name? He said, yes. Her name is Julie. And Samantha snuggled her and cuddled her, and she said, that is a strange coincidence. And William asked, why? And she said, do you know the woman who lives about 2.5 blocks down? She was murdered. The dog got out of the house and ran away, I guess. Nobody could find her. Said her name was Julie. Oh, really? Well, that is a coincidence, William said. Oh, I'm going to take care of you, Julie. I'm going to take care of you. Thank you, William. Thank you. William told her she was very welcome. He walked back to his mail truck. He went on to his next stop. A kindly man who would come out and speak to him. And while he was speaking, he would look directly at William. But when William was speaking, he would shuffle through the mail. He always had a cat in his arms. Rutherford. Rutherford. That's all he ever heard about. Thank you for coming to my channel, and good night.